Under the commando forces indeed. Today the 19th February 2021. The one that they graduated today, 19th February 2021. No be easy. Now part of the commando forces and this. They don't jog at them. They celebrate. No be easy. Young commando. No be easy. Let's show the wife. No be easy. But now go on your power. No be show the wife. Let's see them. Wow, no easy. No easy. No easy. That's on the eyes. No be easy. Wow. No easy. No easy. Let's see them. Oh. Young commando. Let's see them. Young commando. Part of the commando forces indeed. Today the 19th February 2021. The one that they graduated today, 19th February 2021. No be easy. Now part of the commando forces and this. They don't jog at them. They celebrate. No be easy. Young commando. No be easy. Let's show the wife. No be easy. But now go on your power. No be show the wife. Let's see them. Wow, no easy. No easy. No easy. That's on the eyes. No be easy. Wow. No easy. No easy. Let's see them. Oh. Young commando. Let's see them. Young commando. Part of the commando forces indeed. Today the 19th February 2021. The one that they graduated today, 19th February 2021. No be easy. Now part of the commando forces and this. They don't jog at them. They celebrate. No be easy. Young commando. No be easy. Let's show the wife. No be easy. But now go on your power. No be show the wife. Let's see them. Wow, no easy. No easy. No easy. That's on the eyes. No be easy. Wow. No easy. No easy. Let's see them. Oh. Young commando. Let's see them. Young commando.
My fellow Ambazonians, una good evening for all una good afternoon for all una, and so good morning for other people the way they did for North America. I be una brother Asu, when the press secretary for the Executive Office for Governing Council of Ambazonia. Today na Tuesday, when the number 28 day for the month of September for 2021. Today, only 3 more days. Now only 3 days remain for the Ambazonian people them for celebrate their Independence Day. Only 3 days before 1st October, with the Ambazonian people them across the globe, our people them on the territory, and our people them for all over the world. Now only 3 days remain for our people them for celebrate their day of independence. Their day where they did not choose them. Saying that they did this for the Ambazonian people them. Alright? So, when I come well, when I come fine. Today, I don't prepare a very nice package for deliver and for our people them, for give una updates about the most important thing that happen, and then we will take una, we'll enter inside the discussion proper. Today, I'm going to talk about Cameroon, a country without leadership. We go take una enter inside what did happen for Cameroon and how the country they fall apart. We go take una enter for inside Cameroon, their own decision, where they already make them. When it come for the Ambazonian war between Ambazonia and Cameroon. Wetin be the solution where Cameroon don't talk say na their own solution this and nothing else. And wetin the Ambazonian people need for know, and then wetin they get for choose for do am. The discussion today it be very important. But first, before we enter inside the discussion, make a take una for bring una updates for the most important thing that happen around the continent of Africa. Make we bring una the current update. For Guinea, una sabi say the people of Guinea, they rise up about a month ago, and through the vibrant, the young, the charismatic, and the visionary Mamadi Doumbouya, when a colonel, colonial for the special forces them for inside Guinea, on behalf of the Guinea people them, he decide for use the military for stop the political corruption, for stop the chronic embezzlement will be there for Guinea, and for create a new era for give the Guinea people them a better future. It take over power about a month ago. Yesterday, Mamadi Doumbouya, it don't bring together people them from the civil society. It bring together the political parties them, whether they exist for Guinea. It bring together business leaders. It bring together religious leaders. And they create what they call and say the transitional charter, where go be now an interim constitution for govern, where go guide the military government. So they don't create for inside Guinea, Mr. Mamadi Doumbouya, it don't create a transition government, or what they it don't create a transition government, which they call and say the transition council. For that transition government, they don't create a transition council will be made up of 81 people them. And the people them, they include members of the political parties, people them religious leaders, they include members of civil societies, they include business people them. Now this 81 member transition council, it go to act like a temporal parliament for the people them for Guinea. According to the transition charter with the creator, Mr. Doumbouya, it will be the transition president or the interim president for Guinea, and then they don't also elect a person who will be a civilian prime minister for lead the transition government for Guinea and prepare Guinea for get the first credible, transparent, corruption-free, bribery-free election for this generation for the Guinea people then. Election is going to take place for Guinea, where they will take the government, they give them back for civilian rule under a new constitution will be created by the Guinea people themselves for create a new vision and a path for the Guinea people them for live a happy and a free life. Now which did happen that for Guinea, that one now an example for show other countries say they don't need for the men for corruption, they don't need for be people they will be poor. Change if it come, if they get bold and visionary people them where they care about the well-being of the people them. We wish the people of Guinea, we wish them good luck on their path to take back their country and gain free independence. We wish Mr. Mamadi Doumbouya and the people of the Transition Council, we wish them good luck for restore progress, peace, and democratic accountability back for the people them for Guinea. And the first one that for Uganda, scientists them for Uganda, they don't do research concerning coronavirus and die. For the research where the scientists them for Uganda they conduct them, they realize some say the people them where they take the coronavirus vaccine, where the scientists they create them for Uganda. The people where they be fully vaccinated against coronavirus, none of them it be die for during the period where they be do the research and the experiment. And the one day where they not be take the coronavirus vaccine, they be see a very high rate for die. So now what is that with the scientists them for Uganda, they proven. All right, this one are based on their own research where they do them there for Uganda. We also ask them, may they continue with the work where they come out now right from inside the continent. Now make we take when I enter inside La République du Cameroon, the citizens of La République du Cameroon, where they don't be very frustrated for say development no day for the country, then too they don't take actions like the Ambazonian people them. Make we see the pictures the way they come out for that side for Ebolowa. Now Ebolowa this for some village, for some town, we did just few kilometers to the capital city, for the city of Ebolowa. The citizens them or the residents for Ebolowa, they don't be very fed up. They say a whole city, town like Ebolowa, you don't get roads, you don't get better road. So the people they don't mobilize. I'm gonna put the other picture for up here. The people they don't mobilize themselves. They don't go block road. They cut trees. They put them for road. This one now it come out now for inside La République du Cameroon, where they are citizens. They don't be frustrated. Say the country not get development. And how a whole big city or town like Ebolowa, it go be road, they not there. Now where the people they go take to the roads, they block the road and they cut trees them for protest. Say the government of Mr. Paul Biya, where he don't be for power for 40 years, he must give them road. Now what did it happen that for that side for Ebolowa? News don't come out for the savannah states of Ambazonia. The colonial SDO them for the savannah states. The first one will come out at the colonial SDO for the state of Mezam. This morning time, it don't woke up, it don't put out, it don't send out a communique, say it don't ban all protest, no celebration, no demonstration for the state of Mezam. Now we other DOs and SDOs all across the state of Mezam, they don't also join inside. They talk say for the next few days and few weeks, no person enough will come off outside for gather for say one do celebration of any kind. People not will come off outside for talk say they want protest. People not will come off outside. They say they want carry out any occasion. This one, now the panic with the colonial state, the experience the colonial administrators, the experience as the Ambazonian people then and Ambazonian forces, they paint all the road them for inside Ambazonia blue and white for paint them and write Ambazonia for tell them say the Ambazonia Independence Day it come and there is nothing where anybody if you do for stop the people from celebrating their Independence Day. The Ambazonian people not need to take permission from a colonial administrator. They need to take permission from a foreign government. They need to take permission from the occupier for them for celebrate their Independence Day. Secondly, make uno say they say Mr. Paul Biya, the colonial president of La République du Cameroon, if you don't sign order, say it don't ban during this period of coronavirus, they don't ban, make no public gathering not be, no public celebration not be, protest not go take place because of coronavirus. So now banning versus banning. Who the ban who? Now who the ban who for Ambazonia? They woke up say they do communicate. The Ambazonia Defense Forces for Bamenda, as we don't put them for outside for Una. Today, they don't go paint the road them for strategic places them for Bamenda. They paint them all blue and white. They write Ambazonia for one side, and the other side they write ADF. For tell the the colonial administrators, where they only bring them inside Ambazonian and for Amoka, for tell them saying that the people, they don't take back their country. We're there for a critical place, very critical. For this critical place, it also means say the Ambazonian people, they must know the game of the occupier. Because while people, they don't be deceived by the same occupier, they don't be deceived by the colonial elite of the occupier. There is a raging war where they go on between Cameroon and Ambazonia. And Cameroon, it live on denial. The Cameroon colonial state, it did deny the existence of the war, the intensity of the war, and how devastating the war be. Cameroon, they live on denial. So Cameroon right now, they get three different positions then. One government, three different positions. Cameroon don't become a country we don't get leadership and the country they fall apart. As I be explaining last week, when the complexity of a problem, a big pass, the leadership, a complexity for provide solution, the problem would drown the country. I talk again. I try to put this thing for pidgin for my best way, so I beg you forgive me. When the complexity of the problem, it just means say, when the problem over big, and the people they there for power, their sense, it not get solution for those problems. The problem they go drown even those people them. The entire thing go collapse. The Ambazonian War of Liberation. Now a very complex problem when the Ambazonian people, they don't take them. They put them for Pobia, they put them for Cameroon, and they put them for the international system their hand. So that's why the complexity of the problem, it be too big past the complexity of the solutions them way, then they try for provider. As a result, the leadership for Cameroon don't collapse. Cameroon don't get a sense of direction, and the international community, it also not get a clear sense of direction about the conflict because Cameroon be as confused. And the confusion within Cameroon, it don't create factions within Cameroon. And these factions, the enemy they do their own thing for different direction. The first faction, and the faction will be led by the Bulus, where they don't hijack the Cameroon state and they keep them within the 1% Bulu population. That faction, now the warmongering faction, will be led by Betty Asomo, the Cameroon Colonial Minister of Defense, with all the other one them, the Minister of Education, which will be Jacques Fim Dongo, with all the other one them, their Minister of Justice, their Minister of Communication, all the people there, the Atanga and Jipol, all the people that they benefit from the war, the people where they tell the world, say that they handle the problem fine, may the world not worry. These people that they take the country on the path of total destruction. Betty Asomo, he believed for military option, saying that the military option, not now where they go use them for crush the resistance and the rebellion. For the other side, the Cameroon Colonial Prime Minister, Mr. Joseph Diongote, or Selena Diongote, he too don't come out. When Asabi say, when the world be the first Cameroon for enter into a negotiation, now Diongote go guarantee Pobia say, look, if we fit call for a national dialogue within Cameroon, it go stop with the intervention of the world. So the whole concept of the Grand National Dialogue, now Mr. Diongote with the colonial elites, now their concept for shows Pobia say then they do something. So then they push the agenda for the national dialogue will be a deceptive campaign for deceive the Ambazonian people and stop international intervention. 2 years later, the war don't be more intensified than any other time. The Ambazonian fighters, they don't be more bold and they don't control more territories. They don't take bolder actions against Cameroon military. And Cameroon military don't suffer the greatest level of casualties and death for the Ambazonian fighters than any other time. Joseph Dion-Gote, he believes say a national dialogue program, if it manipulate and deceive the Ambazonian people them using the colonial elites, especially the one them for the Atlantic states. After 2 years, last week, he go for the city of Boya and he bring together all the colonial elites for the Atlantic states, for all the states and for the Atlantic states. The colonial elites them for Manu, for Coupe, for Ondian, for Fako, for Lebialem, for Meme. They bring all them together. And they also bring the appointees for the Colonial Regional Assembly. They bring them together as a step forward for what then they call and say their national implementation of resolutions of the national dialogue. They don't go build a small house for Boya where they call and say Grand National Dialogue. When I hear something. So, Dion-Gote, they do their own thing, they go their own side. For now, they don't come up from Grand National Dialogue. It be been a Grand National Dialogue. Now they don't move them into regional dialogue. So now they decentralize the process of peace and negotiation. For a war where it engulf a country, the lack of leadership, now need to make any person they go and go do your own thing, carry money of the state, for go bribe and follow their own path. Now from grand dialogue, now they don't reach now for regional dialogue, peace and reconstruction. Not be grand national dialogue again. Not be something where the state, but now that's something where they outsource them into colonial elites. They outsource them into councils. They outsource them into districts and division. Now the mindset is where people need to understand where things they day. Because without this fundamental and detailed understanding, most of our people, they will still be carried away by the empty noise with the Cameroon agents provocateurs and Cameroon agents within Ambazonian liberation. They continue to deceive the Ambazonian people. Say there is a dialogue or a negotiation to go on between Cameroon and Ambazonia. It be further from the truth. The Cameroon not be interested for anything for external negotiation by the international community. They not be interested. So make what people they understand the game of Cameroon. War na a game. You fight for win or you fight and you lose. And if you not be smart, and if the people they not be guided by smart leadership, intelligent leadership, where you understand these games of the international system, the games of Cameroon, then the people they will remain for a cycle where they would go round and round and round and round and none of them need to move. And eventually, they will be weakened from inside. Leadership be critical. Also, the Cameroon Colonial Minister of Foreign Affairs or External Relations as they call them, yesterday, for the United Nations, he don't go for the United Nations and go tell the United Nations. Say the problems for Ambazonia, they already be solved. The Cameroon government don't create solutions to those problems. And the Cameroon government, they pursue now the path for implement decentralization, the granting of special status for which they recall the Northwest and Southwest, and for implement the policies of the resolutions of Paul Biya, a Grand National Dialogue. This one took place yesterday for the United Nations, General Assembly. Make una listen for what Mr. Mbella, it tell the United Nations, so that we understand the game where Cameroon de play, and so that the Ambazonian people they fit choose the path where they want to take on. Either the path for being deceived or the path where they will get their total liberation. I pull up that information for you
now. Power on. Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected.
Boko Haram terrorists in its northern part and in the Lake Chad Basin in cooperation with other countries. By contributing troops to UN peacekeeping operations, Cameroon is demonstrating its steadfast commitment to international peace and security. We are maintaining our efforts in the northwest and southwest regions of the country to end the social political tensions fueled by armed groups. In this regard, we have set up a comprehensive mechanism that comprises the following elements: a disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration program, a humanitarian assistance plan, a reconstruction plan for these two regions, a national commission on the promotion of bilingualism and multiculturalism, and a special status for the two regions in question that grants them a regional assembly, a House of Chiefs, a regional executive branch, and public independent conciliators. These strides have all been made possible thanks to the major national dialogue that we have organized. The government's action is already yielding tangible results with a gradual return to peace. Despite some isolated acts of banditry perpetrated by armed gangs, the situation is improving with the passage of time. Our defense and security forces have been deployed on the ground to protect the populations and their property with professionalism and respect for human rights. More globally, Cameroon has embarked on an extensive program of reforms aimed at achieving its emergence by 2035 in keeping with the United Nations Sustainable Development Program and the African Union Agenda 2063. I would like to avail myself of this opportunity to thank our bilateral and multilateral partners for their assistance in this endeavor. Mr. President,
I hope say it don't be clear for all man. Say Cameroon not be interested for anything in the name of a negotiation. So the colonial state, Mr. Biya as a dictator, as we don't explain that for now, I will still explain them again more. There is no dictator. Dictators, they need to do negotiation. They either crush you or you crush them. Dictators, they need to find a common ground. Dictators, they need to do what they call and say compromise. Either their way or there is no way. And I get to understand that the psychology of dictatorship that, and the psychology of a tyrant that. For the history of Cameroon, Mr. Biya never ever compromise. Never. Any person, if you don't go read the biography, the government of Cameroon need to compromise. They get 3 strategies where they use them. First, they will try to bring you, to buy you into the system, offer you position. If you deny that one, they will buy you with money. Just like they be try to bring Frundi into the system. Frundi deny. They end up for buy Nijon Frundi with plenty money. Number 3, if you refuse for me to bring you into the CPDM and integrate you, once you refuse, they bribe you with money, bribery and corruption, you refuse, they will take you out. They go assassinate you, they go kill you through any means possible. And if you get luck, then you run, you go for exile. And they bring these points them up because 2 movements, the movement that they call and say the IG, it don't continuously deceive and lie to the Ambazonian people. Say dialogue and negotiation, it go on between Ambazonian and Cameroon. And so they hang on to that lie for the past 2 years as a means for their political relevance and political survival. And the Ambazonian people fall for it, which they call and say the sweet talks. 2 years later, now Cameroon government that it tell the world, say there is no such thing where the Cameroon government be involved as a negotiation with the outside. Cameroon believes say the problem between Ambazonia and Cameroon now an internal problem and it don't need any external intervention. It don't need external parties for come talk for them. Now Cameroon is position that. Now Mr. Biya is position that for them. The unitary state, no man only for touch them, no matter what it happen. The entire state, if it collapse, but they must maintain that idea where they don't choke and for their people their head, say Cameroon be one and indivisible. Cameroon don't state a position, say the Grand National Dialogue, now the final solution, and the special status where they don't offer them for the people of Ambazonia, where they call and say Northwest and Southwest, whether the people they like them or they don't like them, now the highest level that way Cameroon fi go. They talk say they don't give the people them regional autonomous assemblies where it would take care of all the things that the people they want them. All what people need to understand this one. Now Cameroon is position that. But their position it be conflicting because one, they also pursue say through this position, then they go for fight, their military go for fight, the Ambazonian forces them for kill the resistance and reduce the armed conflict on the ground for a level where they fit tolerate them. Just like now they tolerate the Boko Haram for northern Cameroon. They tolerate the insecurity. So as long as they fit bring them to a level where they fit tolerate them, for them it be okay. It be okay. But not their own perception that, and not their own strategy that. A war for a liberation, now a war between two parties. The occupier, and the oppressed people them. Now Cameroon your own strategy that. For the Ambazonian people them, we get a strategy. We the work, it produce the results, and it don't put Cameroon for a very difficult position. First of all, Cameroon don't be bankrupt. For place where they, all we, including myself, you will listen for me. The Ambazonian people need to make a choice. The failure of the Ambazonian people then. By the way, the only reason we Cameroon don't play this game with the international system Now, because of the Ambazonian people, their failure for rally around an effective leadership, we go liberate them. Over the last 5 years, Ambazonians, they don't allow themselves to be used by people who Cameroon sponsor them, put them inside this Ambazonian liberation politics. Ambazonians, they don't be deceived, they don't be used, and they don't scatter Ambazonian, their opinion, their efforts, and their energy. For just as Cameroon be divided, Ambazonians, they don't be divided in terms of small movements and leadership. And most of them, they only make that noise, not only for Facebook and for WhatsApp, for distort and confuse the Ambazonian people then, even using some activists. So the Ambazonian people, their gullibility, as they call them, a common word where Ambazonian they use them. Say Ambazonian they be gullible. It make them Ambazonian don't be divided, and they give people them, thief people them, scammers and traitors, impostors, and how they call them, infiltrators, sponsored by Cameroon, Sako, and Chris Anu, for come for the Ambazonian people them. The first thing what they do within the first few months when they come in, now for take all the money for the war and embezzle them. Then once they don't Ambazonia, they don't start for hold them accountable for them for find some other thing for deceive Ambazonia then. They go launch the Swiss process, the Swiss intention. We not get none of it. Cameroon of commit inside for continue the Cameroon manipulation for weaken Ambazonia people from inside. And they give una all this background, we all wanna know. Now for more understand the game where they go on. Last week, this weekend we just passed, Ambazonian forces them for ground. They call a meeting. They call these same people then when they call them say leaders. When they go inside, they call themselves say president this. All the forces on the ground, they tell them say Ambazonian not get any president. When I stop that nonsense. Can't talk for we for here like a leader of a movement. No can't talk for we as so he be president for Ambazonia. Now so the generals and commanders, they tell these impostors. Now so they are mob lock for that place. Generals and commanders, they tell them a certain plan where they get them for ground. These people, they run. They not feel offer small support. When they ask them questions about in the plan where they get them for ground, they not feel answer them. All right, now the level of deception that. So Cameroon, they get this advantage for outside here because we don't go so far for don't end Cameroon presence for all the 13 states. With the speedway General Ive will be the go time. With the speedway be the day on the ground in terms of the liberation. This thing for don't end. So we must stop for follow people then way. They not get a plan for Ambazonia. They not get a plan for the forces. They need the trained forces. They need the equipped forces. We must stop for call people then way just because they call themselves say leaders. We must stop for call them say they be liberation leaders. Bo Herbert, he get a group where they call and say more risk. It don't scatter. Now only Bo Herbert them 3 they remain for that organization. How you go call 3 people for an organization say movement? Even meeting for quarter, it passed 3 people. Even meeting for Matango House, it passed 3 Bo Herbert organization. So Bo Herbert it not be qualified for be called say a leader. It is leader who? Now the problem this will get them. Alright? Same with other one them where they don't go gather themselves around what inability for no saying a liberation war this and it require focus. It require the arming of forces on the ground. It require recruitment. It require training. It require arming of those forces then. Now a war of liberation this. The Ambazonian people, there is no going back. There's no going back. How far we don't come, no person of it change the place where they go. But for we for make progress, we must make a decision for know what we want and what to go get with there. Empty talk for Facebook, you no go get with there. Empty talk for WhatsApp, you no go get with there. Recruitment, training, arming of those forces. You must recruit them, you must train them, you must arm them. Now, a war of liberation. Not be an agitative process for call for reformation of the state. Now, a war for take back Ambazonia and give them back for the people them. So, I call on all papa them and all mommy them. Now, war of liberation will do so. Ambazonian people don't get any government. I also hear say the people them for IG care, they define a new title for their leader. And also Wahala too also there for the IG care, because some IG care leaders them for North America, they try to find a new leader we go come out from North America. And the faction will be led by Comrade Yerima. They don't block the people that they want them from North America for say then they not fit form and they not fit create another leader, because the people them from North America they talk say Yerima be incompetent and he never fit for lead the IG care. It don't make Yerima a weakness. It don't make Sako don't take over. Sako and Cristiano they don't take over the IG. So they be try for find way for bring the IG care back to life. So fighting is still there inside the IG care between the North American faction and Yerima own faction within the IG care. So even them now they no one call Siseko say president anymore. Because they say Sako don't take over the word say president. So Siseko not here and Sako not fit compete. So now they define a new word, a new title for Siseko. Now so the drama this for Siseko Ayoktabe, now so the drama this way they unfold. And now some of these things them this way, they also drag the Ambazonian people them forward and backward, and they give Cameroon the opportunity for go out there and make this nonsense within the United Nations. Back to speed. For place where they, based on what we see on the ground, were forces, they get dominant control on the ground. Despite Cameroon, their narrative for the United Nations and the international system, the reality on the ground be different. The reality on the ground, it be different. The Ambazonian forces across the 13 states, they did teach Cameroon a lesson through the block-by-block strategy. Now the strategy that we don't give the Ambazonian people them bring with these victories and take with this far. When I don't see say general no pity, you know buy into the ideology of say you must fight for the place where you dey. Say county by county. It talks say county by county na the most stupid idea, and when I say it don't trash them. That's why they come up from one state, enter for another state for place where the enemy they battle them. Because the block by block, it give all them the ability for move, take action for one state. When fire there for that place, they really hot. You go for another place, you go sick, you hide, things that calm down, you find another state where weakness there, you go strike. Block by block. The forces on the ground, through this strategy, they get dominant control. They get greater control for most of Ambazonia. And we still insist, we'll still get total dynamic control of the ground.
Power off.
The Cameroon government, it don't be cornered not only for the big cities. And even for the big cities, they don't be cornered, they only stay now inside Amoka and inside bunkers where they don't create them as buffer zone, play where they feel be safe. So we get greater control. Wait till the ADF they do am. Wait till General F and don they do am. Since February where they launch the stabilization forces. It don't be very quiet because it is focused on the implementation of the liberation roadmap. You liberate territory, you push the enemy out, you must take over that territory you convert them into an Ambazonian territory, you stabilize them, and you consolidate them for create alternative institutions. During the meeting what they tell when I say take place over the weekend with generals them on the ground, even when they ask forces them will not be part of ADF, what you na on plan, they not fit tell you. You even ask them what you na plan for October 1, they not fit tell you, because there is no leadership. A liberation struggle, it must be founded on a strong nationalistic ideology. When forces they do like that, and they not get good leadership, if it help them make a plan. For the governing council of Ambazonia, it start for plan for Ambazonia Independence Day 2 months ago. Now 2 months ago we start for get meetings. Now 2 months ago they start for create committees for Independence Day. And start for talk with all the generals then. For assess the situation for their own various blocks. It takes planning. A liberation struggle must be based now on an ideology and a strategy. So when you talk with these other generals, where they not be part of ADF, and then there's no plan, when they don't, with the people where they claim that they fight under, they don't give them. When I see now why sometimes we get this problem for ground, we may say make forces they just go carry out actions for the purpose of publishing those videos. But there is nothing else after that action. That's why we did turn for circle. General Efang and the forces, on the other hand, the general be very quiet, a slow poison. Capture territory, stabilize territory, and consolidate territories. And this Independence Day will come for 3 days. It will be very clear for all now. Because when I go see the level of preparation, when I go see the level of organization, when I go see the level of professionalism, when I go see the level of detailed planning. Just 2 days ago, the general with a battalion of the special forces, they be there for the state of Manu, for part of the liberated territories of Manu. They get meeting with 10 villages. They bring together all community quarters, village chiefs, and community elders from 10 villages for Manu. All for prepare for October 1. All. We need leadership. Without leadership, a people will perish. Without leadership, there's no progress. Without leadership, there's no freedom. We need effective leadership, and we'll be very lucky. So we'll get the governing council of Ambazonia and the most structured force on the ground. Liberation not been a noise. Liberation not been only for kill the occupational forces. When you kill them, what's next? What's next? If you not get another plan after you kill them, then killing them, it only make news, but there's nothing else. Because Cameroon did recruit and train more. That's why we want to make forces to be aligned so that all we go to move for the same direction. So that when forces they take out a Cameroon military post, a Cameroon gendarme post, they must consolidate that area, they must stabilize that area, they must consolidate them and build a bigger force and give the people them for that area the ability for start to create transition institutions. Will not fit the fight Cameroon for end their occupation, but would still depend on the colonial institutions. And would still live and make what people they depend on colonial institutions. That one is policy of agitation. It's not a liberation strategy. A liberation strategy, you push out the enemy, you stabilize the environment, you consolidate the environment, and then you create alternative institutions for replace Cameroon institutions. Now the policy of the Hague of CEDAW And at the policy that way, it will liberate the Ambazonian people and move it faster. We don't already kick Cameroon out, but we must give the people them alternatives for them to start to get a taste of freedom, the taste of independence. Institutions doing that, then they control them. So that's why this independence, it will be a judgment day for all the movements. It will be a judgment day for AGOVC. Now, wait till the Ambazonian Governing Council, it did really do them for ground. Because a lot of people that they ask him, Chris Anu, Ian Sako, they will go come for online. Where is ADF fighting? We not go know by the territories where ADF they control them. We go know where they are fighting by the territory they control. Alright? How you know say people that they fight? By the territories they control. How you know say people that they liberate? By the community schools they are building. By the institutions they are building. You go know this Independence Day will come for the next 3 days. It will be a judgment day between noise makers and people that work very hard. Between empty noise for Facebook versus the hard work on the ground. This Independence Day is a judgment day for all the movements. Now the day with the Ambazonian people, they go make an assessment and a decision of what to be a liberation movement. We will define a liberation movement on the 1st of October. Politics no go take you anywhere. Drama no go take you anywhere. Loud, empty talking activists they no go take you anywhere. Independence Day. Now the day where all Ambazonians they go take all the movements, they put them for public court. Now that day we go know whether we go know the usefulness of the IG care. We go know whether they be useful or the job be a useless movement by name. Now on Independence Day, we go know whether Bo Herbert it be useful to the Ambazonian liberation or not just a good journalist when an activist. Now that day we go know whether the consortium of John Ba Akuro it be useful or John Ba Akuro not just a good journalist with a good voice and analysis when an activist. Now on October 1 we go know whether the people of Southern Cameroon International Town Hall not loud empty talking heads or they get any substance for offer the Ambazonian people them. We go also know on that day whether the Ambazonian Governing Council and its defense forces on the ground what it be their own work where they don't do one. On that day not been a talk now the fruits will the counter. We know the talk now how loud and how fanciful you feel talk. On that day Chris Ano a big mob like hippopotamus. It no go count. Now wait till the territory so they don't liberate them. And the kind Independence Day where they get forces on the ground for demonstrating. On that day we'll go see who they build community schools and who they only make noise. Who they build healthcare systems and who they only make noise. Who they don't liberate territories, let's assume they will make noise. Because from October 2nd, the definition of a liberation movement will change. The definition of a leader will change. On that day, we will start to separate activists and liberation leaders. Because we get to start to focus our people them on substance. Because the game ahead, a different game. A different game we move into. A different game General F and they put them for ground. When I go see the hard work. When I go see when people that they work hard the sweat and the sacrifices. We will differentiate noisemakers versus leaders. It come. I'm going to talk this for today. This October 1, for waiting with the same, they happen on the ground. I'll be extremely happy. When I see community leaders from 10 villages from Manu, they come together and the general, they address them in front of the special forces. When I know the game don't change. The game don't change. Part of Manu don't be liberated. It is under total ADF control. The game don't change, my people. In a different ball game. And I'll be very proud for Witty, the work with the Ambazonian Defense Forces, the work where they put them for ground, the power where they would demonstrate them, and the professionalism in terms of mobilization and community building where I will see them. And I'll be very proud of our community schools. And I'll be very proud of our forces. Judgment Day, it didn't for 1st of October for Friday. On that day, the programs will be very strong. Comrade Sheikh Kavi and our fine sister, we all know Dr. Abu Free, we na Dr. Mambo Frida. Na them they will be the anchor for that day. Na them they will welcome una and walk una through the Independence Day as all the videos they will come up for all the communities in Ambazonia. As the march past, it will take place. Alright? Preparations will go on the ground. It be very strong. We not forget about Cameroon, their colonial noise. We need to listen to Cameroon. Now the people they get the land. Now the people they decide what will happen for that land. Now the forces, they be the authorities. And the people and the Ambazonian people and their defense forces, they be the authority for the land of Ambazonia. Alright? We'll talk on now tomorrow. Make all man get a great day. When I stay fine. Oh, the people them for America, before I go, the people them for America, the Ambazonian Governing Council don't design a Shwabi for the Ambazonian people them. And if you there for America, contact Mama Wally or you contact Grandma Sally. Go get your Ambazonia Ashwabi so that you get 2 more days in between for buy your clothes and go for tailor. Make them knock you better style. You wear them nyang which because the people from America, all them they would gather for Washington DC. All the people them for around Washington area, New York area, they would gather for Washington DC for a big Ambazonia Independence Day parade. So too, the people them for South Africa, they don't get their own Ambazonia Ashwabi. The Ambazonians and for Belgium, una contact Comrade Sheikh Kavi. Ambazonians for Holland, for France, una contact Comrade Sheikh Kavi. If you want your Ambazonian Ashwabi, all these things are symbol of one nationality and one nationalism and one freedom. We must ingrain them and tell and show the world how beautiful we'll be, how determined we'll be for project ourselves. Because on Independence Day, we start for project the independence of Ambazonia by the structures we will get them on the ground, the power of our defense forces, and the call on all defense forces. May they paint all major roads within the towns and villages, all the road them. May they paint them blue and white, write Ambazonia for day. And the force where they exist, may they also write their name for that place, for the road too. When I paint the entire Ambazonia blue and white. All colonial buildings, when I paint them blue and white, and for the front door, when I write Ambazonia. As I be explaining, my audio I put them out last night, early this morning. Cameroon don't send an additional 700 forces into both the Atlantic states and the Savannah states for can't intimidate our people them. But as I know, as General No Pity, he addressed a community yesterday, he tell them say shake no day. Now the word where Mama will create them for all we. Shake no day. It don't reach for all soldier them. Yesterday, General No Pity, he addressed a community for assure them so must win this fight. He tell them say, my people, shake no day. Alright? Mommy and Papa them, shake no day. Brothers and sisters, shake, you know day. Cameroon don't be defeated for our land. We must celebrate our independence. Whether na for inside house you dey celebrate them. Whether na for inside bush you dey celebrate them. Whether na for inside prison you dey celebrate them. Whether you dey for refugee camp celebrate them. Whether you dey for on exile on that day celebrate them. Make the world know say you be an Ambazonian. All right? May God bless you now. Now stay fine. As always, when I take care, we love you now. We'll talk tomorrow.